Hello and welcome to the Roundhouse Poetry Slam Finals 2026. Yes, we are back here in the Roundhouse main space for this year's annual Roundhouse Poetry Slam Finals in partnership with Taylor Wessing. My name is Toby Campion and I will be one of your hosts for this evening. I am a man wearing black trousers, a white top with a shaved head, and everyone who gets on the stage tonight will give a short audio description of themselves for our blind audience members this evening. And it's my pleasure to introduce my fabulous co-host, Anita Rani.
Good evening, everybody. It's lovely to be back. I am a brown woman in a pink shirt and white stilettos, and I'm not afraid to use them. And another thing about me is this has happened since you last saw me. So there's no denying that I'm in my 40s. I'm putting my spectacles on. You spend your life taking the mickey out of your parents, and then one day it's you. Okay, so thanks to all of you joining us tonight, and especially to those of you who are watching us on the Roundhouse YouTube channel. We would love to hear from you, so get involved in the chat box tonight. Tell us how you are doing. Right, this year's Slam Finals is part of the Roundhouse 360 Festival. It's an epic month of all the arts. We love them all. Spoken word, theatre, visual arts, podcasts, club nights, love a club night. And it's all finishing on April the 29th. If you want to know more, then go and find the programme. But there's also great poets like Kay Tempest, Spit Nights, and the Roundhouse Poetry Collective also performing. Tons going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And this year also marks 20 years since the Roundhouse reopened. Yes, we can make a bit of noise for that.
She's looking good.
Yeah. As not only a venue, but also a charity supporting young people to enter the creative industries. And this year marks them working with 100,000 young people since opening. Yeah, pretty impressive. And the Slam has always been quite a big part of that. Lots of people have taken part in the Slam over the years. I was taking part in the Slam 11 years ago.
He was a child.
I was 5 years old at the time, showing my age. And lots of other incredible artists have been on this stage. Performers, poets, directors, lots of brilliant people. So it's a really special stage to be part of. You might be wondering who are the young people sat behind me. So many, many, many young people applied to take part in this year's Roundhouse Poetry Slam. They were whittled down to 70 by an esteemed judging panel. Those 70 young people then took part in preliminary heats across the country: London, Bristol, Liverpool, where else? Leeds, online, everywhere. It's bloody everywhere. And the highest scoring poets from those rounds are the poets that are sat behind us on stage tonight. So it's already been a huge process getting here. Yeah.
It's major.
Everyone tonight is a winner, so let's make some noise, even more noise for our Roundhouse Slam finalists.
Okay, make some noise if you have been to a poetry slam before. Who's been to one before? Okay. This is good. And newbies, who is a poetry slam virgin. Ooh. Yes, well, welcome to all of you. You are in for such a treat.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a newbie and you don't know what's going to happen, you've been dragged along here maybe, who knows, what is going to happen is you're going to hear 2 poems from each of the poets behind us, one in the first half and then in reverse order, one in the second half. They each have 3 minutes to perform their work. If they go over that, they risk losing points. And if they go over 4 minutes, me and Anita will be kicking them off the stage.
Yeah. Yes.
Putting those stilettos into good use.
There will be violence. No. They're also going to be scored from 0 to 10 based on their writing and performance. See how it got serious? Mm-hmm. But quite frankly, we all understand that this is ridiculous.
Yeah, offensive even.
Yes, how can you just judge art?
Yeah.
It's impossible. However, judge we must, because there are prizes. The third highest scoring poet will get £300. Thank you. Second place, £500. And the highest scoring poet tonight will get £1,000.
Yes.
Okay, and
difficult or challenging, but if at any point you need to leave, the room, take a breath of fresh air, please feel free to do that. Outside of that situation, if you could avoid getting up to get your next glass of Merlot, when a young person is on stage pouring their heart out. That would be appreciated.
Was that a note just for me?
Yes, it was, yeah. So just wait to the interval, okay? Or in between poems when people are clapping.
Now, you will have noticed we have some brilliant BSL interpreters with us tonight. So round of applause, please, for Ali Gordon, who will be interpreting the Slam host, judges and guest speakers. And deaf interpreter Zoe McWhinney will be BSL translating the finalists' poems. And a huge round of applause for our DJs this evening. We have former Roundhouse resident artist, the incredible Late Kid, and Kemansi, who will be keeping the vibes going tonight. So let's hear it for Late Kid and Kemansi. There they are. Okay, and alongside all of that, we have our esteemed panel of judges. Can we get a ooh? So, with us tonight, these guys face the unenviable task of scoring the poets and ultimately choosing the winner. First up, we have Nikita Gill. Yes. Nikita is a poet, playwright. She's written and illustrated 7 collections of poetry and 3 novels in verse, including the Sunday Times bestseller and #1 New York Times bestseller, Hecate. Nikita's been shortlisted for the Clipper, the Goodreads Choice Awards, and the Jelluk Prize. Her one-woman show, Maidens, Myths and Monsters, was launched at Omnibus Clapham. And quite frankly, this woman is a goddess, in my opinion. Huge round of applause.
Hard agree, big agree. Okay, our second judge is the incredible poet, playwright and curator Inua Ellams. Yes. His show Barbershop Chronicles was here in the Roundhouse years ago and then transferred National Theatre. Inua's done incredible things, which I'm not going to list all of them. What I am going to list is the people he's been published by. Okay, here we go. Fliptie, Akashic, Nine Arches, Pen in the Margins, Oberon, Methuen. Who hasn't this man been published by, okay? He's an incredible artist, does incredible things. He's also got his hit show, An Evening with an Immigrant. You might have already seen it. He's going to be performing it with a 20-piece orchestra on the 26th of April, so get your tickets for that. It's going to be amazing. Inua Ellams.
And last but by no means least, we have Jordan Stevens. Jordan Stevens, as we know, is an English musician, actor, writer, best known as one half of the platinum-selling hip-hop duo, I know, a lot, Rizzle Kicks. He's also an outspoken mental health advocate whose I Am Whole campaign reached 120 million people online. He has acted, it deserves a huge round of applause. Good work. He's acted in Catastrophe, Star Wars Rogue One. I know, keep it coming. And I haven't finished yet. Regular host of the BBC podcast Miss Me, and is the co-host of BBC Sounds music podcast Make Me a Mixtape with Clara Amfo. How are you going to judge? How are you even going to do it? What are you looking for tonight? Do you have a microphone? Yeah, there we go. Hello Jordan.
Oh, sorry. Swearing. Swearing is the first thing I'm looking for.
We did warn you.
Inua, do you like swearing?
I wrote a whole book where each poem begins with the F word. So yeah, I do like...
Go on, grab that one. What were you looking for?
I'm just looking for a lot of heart from the poets, and I'm sure I'm going to get that.
Yeah.
A lot of love and heart.
How about a word of advice? What would you say?
You've only got one shot. One opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted. No, in all seriousness, competition's for losers, really. It's all in a good sport. Keep on keeping on. I actually feel blessed to be here. I don't know, I'm absolutely over the moon to see all of you. I think you've done a fantastic job getting this far, and everything from here is a bonus, so big ups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Well done. Thank you. Nikita, Jordan, and Inua.
Yeah, so those are our 3 judges at the panel, but there's also a 4th judge in the room. Can we get an intrigued audience reaction noise? Great, okay, brilliant. So, the 4th judge in the room is you, the audience. Yes. So at the end of the show, there'll be a QR code on this screen. If you're at home, you can also vote. There'll be a QR code in the chat box. Follow that, and you will be able to vote as to who is your favorite poet of the evening. You'll have 5 minutes to vote. The votes will then be counted and verified. And the winner will win the audience award, which is worth £300. So it's a big deal, people. So you might want to make notes. You might want to talk to the person sitting next to you in the interval as to who is your favorite. But make sure by the end of the show you are ready to vote, because you will only have 5 minutes to do it.
Yes. Okay, now, this is the most important bit, okay? The last time I had the privilege of hosting this, I was so moved. There were tears, and I left here, and I've never been able to forget the experience. All of these incredibly talented young people are going to get up to that microphone, and they're going to speak some truths, okay? Some of them have been doing this for years. Some of them will have only performed their poems for the first time during the heats. But whatever, for all of them, it's probably the first time they've stepped up on a stage in front of an audience this big to give us their art. It's going to be quite an experience for them and for us. And what we want to do is show them a lot of love and a lot of support, right? We're with every single one of you tonight. We are, aren't we? Aren't we? Yes. You know the feeling.
Absolutely. And guys, I think we can do a little bit better than that. So, okay, I want you to imagine that one of these young people has just gotten to the stage. They're feeling a bit nervous. They need your love. They need your support. I want you to use your hands, use your feet, use your mouths. What does that sound like? Yes. That is exactly what it sounds like.
Gorgeous, spine-tingling stuff.
Okay, so we're going to get started. We've been chatting a lot. We're going to get bloody well started. Before we have our first slammer of the evening, we need what's called a sacrificial poet on the stage. We need to shed some blood. We need to warm up our judges. We need to get you in the mood for some poetry. And who better to do that than our reigning Roundhouse Poetry Slam champion? Since winning the Roundhouse Slam last year, he went on to feature on BBC Radio 4's The Verb, BBC Radio London's Poetry Corner. He's doing loads of amazing things. He's writing his debut pamphlet, which is called My Name is a Two-Person Sport. And next Friday, he's also doing a show here in the studio at the Roundhouse as part of the 360 Festival, so check that out. Without further ado, welcome to the stage, the Roundhouse Poetry Slam champion from 2025, Aditya Narayan.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here again, and it's at once completely different and completely familiar. It's strange, but thank you. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time at the Roundhouse last year. Winning Roundhouse changed my life, and everyone who performed along with me, I'm sure it changed theirs in a very positive way as well. So I just want to thank organizations like the Roundhouse for promoting the arts and doing what it takes to bring people like me on stage. Thank you, Roundhouse. So this poem is about my background. I am Indian, and oh yes, for the physical description as well, I am a 5'11" brown man wearing a suit that I haven't worn in a long time, but I thought of dressing up. No better occasion than this. And I'm going to do a poem that speaks to that identity, especially on the subject of language. It's called Forked Tongue. When I was 5, I was told my tongue was forked at the hinge, cut half down the middle, foundation to fringe, and if I wanted to swing for a decent living, I must pick one limb or another. That's what primary school feels like in a country that lives with the sins of another. When a language is muscled so hard down your throat that it bloats with generational fibrosis. When letters and verses you prayed with are prayed on like blight that prevails on a forest. When grammar is dice cut and sliced up so finely you swallow it benignly with eyes shut. When violence is fed intravenously so you can't tell your own bloodstream from poison, that's when 100 more years of colonial glory await you across the horizon. When I was 5, I was told my tongue was forked and it had to relent in submission, and listen, I tried. Ages 6 through 7, I took lesson after lesson to lessen my Indian side. Pried my muscles into a straighter line, revised my vowel signs, decided where to breathe, how much to breathe, and forced my breath through clenching teeth, deafened my ears against the screech of a mouth not built for English speech. Don't overreach, you say. I'm trying to teach you how to speak, to help you succeed, build a life that you seek in a world that feeds and breeds on the fallen debris of imperial colonial fodder. Just make sure you act like you're free while they edit the audio file on your collar. When I was 5, I was told my tongue was forked and to live with this tongue was improper. I had to choose. And only one choice would bring order. The beneficial language, the universal language, the God-granted golden gift that's gotten global language. The long live the legacy of Latin letters language. The long live the majesty of foreign settlers language. The master me, your ancestry is not important language. The master me, it's mandatory, I am your mother language. The choose this tongue over no other 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 language. The choose this tongue over no. No. I unhook my leash, spit out the rules. I look at my tongues, I do not choose. I braid them together like rivers colliding, like lovers deriving a single breath. Two cultures aspiring for a single truth by the death of the difference that made them forget that a language is only as good as the pieces that make it. And I've got twice the pieces you get. So I let them entwine, tongue into tongue, and I watch them combine into one. Now I speak with one tongue. No splinter, no scar. Jisme na hai sarhad na koi diwar. You listen, you think I am jumping between. Batao main kaise dilaun yaqeen that you hear me in halves. I've never been fuller. The tongue that was forced down my throat like a tumor and that which to my generations belonged are finally singing a singular song. So don't let my borderland cadence perplex you. If you think it is broken, I think that reflects you. My words might be dual, my verse is oblique, but I speak with one tongue, and she knows how to speak. Thank you.
Remember, Aditya's show is next Friday here in the Studio Theatre at the Roundhouse, and as you've just heard, it's going to be bloody great, so make sure you get a ticket. Okay. Are you ready for our first Poetry Slammer of the evening? Are you ready for our first Poetry Slammer of the evening? Okay, let's hear it for our first Poetry Slammer, Joshua Turton.
My name's Joshua. I'm a 5'9" mixed guy with a fro, and I want to savor this. Picture this. I'm at a bar, jamming whilst white people play that smooth jazz. Easy white chocolate. I want to be in a jazz-infested bar, riffs inflected hard, rippling over my flesh like blackness, sax notes scuttling over sin, sinew and skin. I want to reclaim the nightmare, the daydream of an improv identity. It's iffy, these joys in the dangers of an improv form. I tire of my chattel flesh, a name I never chose, a bame, a balm, a non-existence, a whiteness I never chose. So, when heaven comes, if heaven does, make it black bring disco back, never slur me again. Rediscover my flesh, have it be mine. Rediscovery a stateless place, a rediscovery of a nameless form. None of that conquest colonial bullshit, no categorizing this body ever again. Again, I want to be what I am not, what I have not been yet, an undiscovered grammar of self that does not yet know this anguish, this archive, narcoleptic and archivability of the unwrit to write themselves, to the slow hi-hat, rim job of self-discovery, to slow reconfiguring of self-recovery, fuck. The lands I haven't seen. Find me a drummer, a stage, a bassist, a bassoon-playing baddie with a heart of gold, cigar percolations, dreams of grandeur. Find me someplace else. Next life, I'll be the vibes at a function full of homies, like-minded nights full of like-minded who know me. If you're a like-minded, unlabeled homie, wants to know me, at me, we'll find ourselves some slow, sturdy nights that never end, mornings that never start, afternoons filled with the promise of lackadaisicality, phones that never die, hearts that never bend, also that we can keep on jigging our left ass cheek to the groove of a night, jealous of our like-minded eyes, these nights that like-minded bodies will confuse for movie. Promise me something, baby. In the next life, we will not sleep. We will not cry. We will not laugh. We'll be the vibes at a function full of homies. We'll be the vibes in a room full of lovers, full of heathens, full of hip-hop, rap, punk, rhythm, blues, infused enthusiasm. Fuck. Throw in some pop for the sake of it. Invite Sabri, invite Tay, and all the other cis-het white ladies if we must, so that we can run away. Be rich on this rich vein of the scent. 'Cause trust, if I can jam to the tunes of this white band, if I can scrimmage amidst the pilgrimage of a poem written in this white hand, if I can run into sunset where sky is hot and earth is earthy and no genocide has ever touched our beautiful brown bodies, if our wonderful brown skin knows well this transition from moonrise to moonfall, knows every hue of joy and life might yet be the superb, subaltern place where we can decide at last what is holy.
Keep making that noise for Benita Yard. Next to the stage, Benita Yard.
My name is Binti Yard. I am 5'7". My hair's in an afro. I'm wearing a white and gold traditional Senegalese dress. This is my love letter to the home I've never known, an ode to Senegal. I left my clothes. When I step outside, my belly is full and my heart is bursting at the seams. Even the annoyances come coated in sugar. Life here isn't perfect, but it sure tastes sweet. And I can't help but wonder how we were ever made to think that this isn't where we were meant to be. Like this isn't where we would thrive. Like this is where we would be fighting to survive, as if we're not just barely alive. In our second-gen hometowns, flashy neo-imperialist compounds lining the pockets of degenerates in crowns funding great genocides with our great British pounds. Our parents were told that the grass was greener, only to find that the grass had been covered in concrete, that the rivers had turned brown and the sun refused to shine down. They were tricked into boarding a sinking ship, expecting to be led to streets of gold, only to find they were covered in piss. It's time for the diaspora to go home. Home where my feet plant roots with every step I take, but never deep enough to keep me, for heaven's sake. My spirit is grounded here, but my body is bound to a grayer land that meets me with an outstretched hand, a beggar, a barren land. The irony of an empire where the sun never slept, being forgotten by the sun, is not lost on me. Yet still, My body is bound to this grey land because my pocket is weighed down by its grey hand, so I float. Head above water with every stroke, I get closer to the border between peace and dunya. And if I'm being honest, my attachment to the latter is too strong to go back to where I belong, so I breathe. And with every breath, I remind myself that this is not a sprint, but a marathon, that my body and spirit will soon become one. And with my final breath, I appease my soul with 2 words of comfort: Bun Babylon. Can I get a Bun Babylon?
Let's hear it for Binti Yard. And welcome your next poet to the stage, Chakunda Mazandiwa.
Hello, my name is Chakunda. I'm a 5'6". 5'6"? Yeah, 5'7" on a good day though. Zimbabwean girl. I'm wearing a green hoodie and black pants. In the beginning, God created sound, and God saw that the sound was good. The breath of new life, the hum of the earth, the first laugh that broke free from Adam's rib. Somewhere between Eden and exile, between paradise and plunder, the sound split. When the snake spoke, that was the first evil sound. Now, not all sound is good. When they tell my father his English is so good, we laugh. When my mother tells me another patient refuses to be touched by her, we laugh. When they ask me if I go by a name that is easier to pronounce, we laugh. I used to think the laughter I responded with was a good sound, a way to keep the peace. I laugh to say, do not be afraid. I laugh to say, I am not a threat. I laugh to dull the edges of my body, soften the blade they already think I am. I laugh, not for a lack of words, but because I have seen how a shaking voice is mistaken for the growl of a predator when they have already decided we are something to be hunted. Most days, I do not know if my laughter is a consequence of my joy or just a poor attempt to look less like a weapon. Most days, I do not speak up, for I know anger on this skin does not wear forgiveness. I do not know how to stop the laughter that erupts out of me in moments of discomfort. I do know a quiet mouth can stop a war, but nobody tells you how much blood it takes to silence a battlefield. I am learning that not all laughter is a good sound. Sometimes it is just a mask, a cracking facade held together by the weight of a paper-thin smile. Sometimes I am my own Judas, licensing my own burial. With every laugh, handing them a shovel and calling it grace. I remember the Last Supper of my pride, when I laughed at a joke that shattered me in ways I cannot describe. I am still breaking bread with that moment, still sipping wine through the straw of my own cowering backbone. So many times, we have taken their violence, made a coffin for it in our laughter, buried it so deep, pleading with our own flesh to absorb the impact of the blow. And I do wonder if this is what it means to burst into laughter. To have been stuffed so full of grief we turn confetti, so we may at least call ourselves beautiful as our bodies fall to the floor and our laughter rises like steam or smoke or a ghost leaving the mouth. No longer do I wish to carry a battlefield in my lungs and call it a peace offering, to turn my body into a joke just to survive the room. What is good about a sound that buries the body it comes from? The next laugh to erupt from my lips will not bow its head in compliance. It will not cower in the shadow of violence. It will not be borrowed from my own grief. It will be truth. It will be light. And my God, it will be good.
Chakunda Mazandiwa. Keep the applause going for our next poet, Rain Spiegel Johnson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rain. I'm wearing black jeans and a red striped top and gold hoop earrings. When I was young, me and my family were in and out of homelessness, and during that time, I became the biggest nerd known to man. So this is a spoken nerd poem called This Action May Figure. The abdominal strength of the cosmos crunches its way towards me, and by my bedside reveals all the heroes I've ever wanted to be. For in our rationed hostel, every child arrives with a suspicion that they are the chosen one, that an owl would feed a letter through the esophagus of our homes, or webs denaturing out our hands would somehow save this world. For we are children of peace treaties, of court rulings, RPGs, Zelda, and adventure quests. We are the runaway Narnians who, through the wrong wardrobe, spawned in Sydenham instead. We detest the time bombs ticking our nighttime curfews, and in defiance, kung fu kick the slats off our beds as our comforts become offerings to Master Oogway and every Jedi who came before us like Solange in an elevator in 2014. We are the passing of cargo to foreign vendors of fallen fathers who thicken the waters of our castle moat, of all Daddy's bankruptcies and all his broken oaths, and of mothers who were always the stronger one to divorce King Arthur's sword out the stone. Job Center fluorescence was the sun we'd missed in the daytime, and its eclipse began when the security guards switched off the sky at 5. I'd question why so many stars would explode in Mum's eyes, cosmic deaths in her eyes, her dreams depleting to time. We'd orbit confusion for weeks, and damage domesticated itself into our spines, but at least true heroes look like they've already survived something. So I placed my limbs inside Armageddon's mouth, to be taken to the end of the world and outlive it. Because action figures are plastic, immortal entities that float between archipelagos and choke fish on shorelines. But now, our best play was directing each other's gaze upwards, because that is where hope lives. Past the black hole fire escape burning the concrete scalp of our tower block, like hot comb to naked skin. Hope is a galaxy light years away from the bleeding of a father's sin. It is a medicinal neutron star from the mouth of God, giving light to the minds of our hearts when our XP and inventory were scarce. But when London would catch a great fire again from the embers of Cersei's stomach, or a meteor would punch a great rift through Parliament's skull, or AI killer robots spark an uprising, or the sky blighting unzip itself, and someone from its frayed hems would cry, "Is there anyone here who can save our world?" Us kids would stand up, dusting toast crumbs from our jumpers and butterbeer beers from around our mouths, and reply, "Say less."
Johnson. And keep your love going for our next poet coming to the stage, Ro Dodge. Keep your applause going to our poet yesterday.
I'm Ro Dodgson, and I'm known for my element of surprise. For the visuals, I'm ginger. I'm non-binary, I'm performing sitting down on a stool, and I'm wearing a fantastic t-shirt. I wrote this poem actually because of something that happened here at the Roundhouse. I was at a workshop and I asked a lady, "So what kind of poetry do you write?" And she gave me a one-word answer, "Sad." So I wrote this poem called Sad Poet. I am a sad poet. I write sad poetry about deep, sad things. I was once a happy poet, but not today. Today I'm a sad poet, and positivity is the fickle thorn in the crown of the Lamb of God as he carries his cross. It's also on my Instagram, recommended for you, blocked. I don't care about your cat, Sheila, or your kids, because I am a sad poet. I care about the raindrops falling off the roses. I care about the whiskers falling off the kittens. I care about brown paper packages tied up with strings, locked in their brown paper skins, screaming to be released. And inside, a copy of Slipknot. Those are my favorite things. I'm a sad poet howling alone by the light of the moon, the dish shooting up from the spoon. My depths are so deep that their deepness is deeper than the three blind, mutilated mice in their death dash away from the carving knife, not knowing they're running towards the edge of the counter as they squeak into the void and are destroyed. I'm a sad poet. Darkness is light and light is darkness. I use oxymorons to crippling excess. The fulcrum of the metaphor is an anagram of a simile of a rhetorical question. Why do we write when we want to grow wings and take flight like a moth to a flame of hope? No, not of hope, I'm a sad poet. Hope doesn't go with the vibe, but the things you describe are sometimes almost positive. If darkness is light, then there's light all around us, even at night. Hey, that was my oxymoron. Don't use it against me, I'm a sad poet. Yes, but you're also a happy one sometimes, you know it. I guess that I am, but don't tell a soul, it'll ruin the brand. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Rose Dodson. Okay, so we are halfway through the first round. Audience, how are we feeling? Yeah, I told you they were good tonight. Okay, judges, how are we doing? All good? Okay, sweet. Okay, let's take a deep breath in and out. Okay, are you ready for your next slammer of the evening? Are you ready for your next slammer of the evening? Okay, welcome to the stage, Tia Zakura.
Hello everyone, I am a 5'7" woman wearing all black with a big old afro. There's a word in Welsh pronounced hiraeth, which means to long for a place that may have never been. Growing up, most kids have an imaginary friend, a figment of their fantasy, dreamt up to play with in moments of solace or boredom or breaks from reality. I remember my best mate from school had one called Jasmine Luna. And she told me Jasmine Luna was half wolf, half beauty. She even made us save a seat for Jasmine Luna at our tea parties. It's kind of creepy, actually. Like, imagine that was now, and I was like, hey, you can't sit there. Jasmine Luna's already sat there. She's half wolf, half beauty, and only I can see her. And the whole time the seat was empty. Imagine. That would definitely go down as insanity. Imagine. That would be crazy. Can you imagine? Growing up, most kids had an imaginary friend. I had an imaginary land, a figment of my fantasy, dreamt up to reference when asked about my ancestry. She carried many titles, but I called her the motherland. To be more specific, the Gold Coast. To be more specific, Togo. I'd close my eyes and picture her slightly patchy plains. She was paper mache in my mind, made up of stories from other mouths, soil from other grounds, online stock images and any loose scraps I could find. I couldn't name you a street in the crease on her skin. I couldn't tell you what it's like to dance under her sun. I could hardly even speak to motherland in her mother tongue. Another tongue occupies my mouth. And it's been not from the heat of motherland's day star, but from the British breakfast tea it sips every morning, my calling when I need to feel some warmth. It professes poems mourning a place it's never known. To be more specific, it speaks of home. Home. But that's just an imaginary land, and I'm not a kid no more. So that would be crazy, right? Like imagine I was like, hey, you can't sit there and stare, I'm not yet complete. I've lived 21 years, but I'm still yet to meet my motherland. I understand, but my home does exist, I promise. I play with it in moments of solace. It's 2,000 miles away, and no, I've never been. No, I don't speak the language. No, I'm not sure what tribe. Here, yeah, my whole life. So what does a land need to qualify for home? And what happens when your birth mother is not the woman who raised you? There's a faction, avoided diasporic children who've never had their hair combed by mother's hands, never set their feet on mother's land, so we dream up figments of our fantasy to chase. So it gives us a reason we feel so displaced. We hold what we can to fill in that space, even if it's a made-up mother estranged. Maybe someday just something to cope. I still hold my imaginary land because I can only imagine hope. I can only imagine home. Thank you.
Extraordinary stuff from Tia Zakura there. Keep the applause coming for your next poet, Oscar W. Isaacs.
Right, hello, I'm Oscar. I'm a 5'9" Jewish guy in a brown jacket and jeans. And this first poem is called A Bee Ode, and it's for North London. That's right. Blood let from its body, the Baskin Robbins, boarded up Balti, banks, bus stations and blocks of a burnt oak's branches blooming into golden blossoms just beyond my reach. See, Big Smoke observed the burgeoning breach between its broke and its moneyed, and brazenly backed the latter, bumped up its bills and its rent till the boroughs were bled of their residents, and blood begets bears. Burberry-coated, bared teeth, braggadocious and bougie. Belgravia budgets in Hackney and Clapham, those where's the backy bears. Heirs to the big chair bears, don't care bears, Barbicans, Bones, Bishop's Avenue, Barron, till even a flat becomes a bold-ass fantasy in the transubstantiation of a borough that's abandoned me. So now, I live in the boondocks, Boreham Wood, Boringwood, the ends of endless pensioners, BBC backlots, unreliable buses, and boredom, but also my barber, Balagan Burger, blackbirds warbling to the break of the morning, and bluebells in bloom in December. I bask in the blessing of finally having a base, but dream of London, a boy who can't afford to be based where he was born, just one of abundant youngsters bequeathed the burning steps of a woebegone Britain, beaten up, broken down, and brittle, the breeze, bearing a Barnetian Jews, Barnetian blues, libating the borough from which he begrudgingly moved. The Bohemia, Hollywood Bowl, Bang Bang Food Court, breaking my phone on the boss man's floor, 221 bus, 13 bus, Blackberry bushes, riding bikes, Mill Hill, Broadway, subway at break time, folks break up, Bacardi benders, 2CB, Cymbalta, wake and bakes, breakdowns, razor blades, but okay. Because I will be back in Barnet one day. Bear with me. I will be. Thank you.
And keep your love going for our next poet coming to the stage. Kinda.
Hello everyone, good evening. I am a 5'5" black woman with ginger hair and an incredible rack. I got dared to say that, so I win money for that, thank you. No, on a more serious note, I wrote this poem after I moved up north to study music, and a white man said the N-word in a joke to me. And I woke up the next morning and I looked in the mirror, and for the first time in ages I remembered that I was black. This is Roots. A tree is only as strong as its roots. The blacker the berry, the more bitter the truth. And at first that was hard to digest, but now it's sipped on like juice. So if the day ever comes where I may have to take a shot, it will hurt no more than an everyday bruise. At this point, we are casualties in everyday news. I read the headlines bewildered, confused, read as calm as the forecast. There's another black life that we lose. But they'll only tell you if a black knife was used. No, we don't talk about the boys in the US found on campus swinging from trees, but you'll never forget the stench of a strange fruit that lingers in a southern breeze. It burns my nose and now I can't breathe, but happens so frequently that I can't grieve. So I sit in my anger and I seethe, waiting for another mother to find herself bereaved. A tree is only as pretty as its leaves. Culture is only as valuable as its thieves. That's why one history is the baseline, mine is a collectible. Your artifact are in your home country, you stole mine as collectibles. Zong, Ashanti, Igbo, you name it. You took my people, my clothes, and my music and frame it in big calls to shame it. Until it's a bohemian spiritual hippie aesthetic. Then you can claim it. It's comfortable as a costume, isn't it? When you're able to clock out and clock in. Well, it is a 365, 24/7 job living in my skin. A tree is sheltered by a community of branches, and I would know that feeling had you given me more chances. Instead, you mock every fatherless child and husbandless wife, like your system didn't set my dad up for 25 to life. We are united in strife, making skin folk kinfolk. I'm suppressed by a system constructed to keep me broke. What a joke. And at the base of my tree, there are these cancerous weeds. They say my tree is too dark to get the light everyone else needs, and it dampens the hope that I shall ever bear seeds. My roots are feared. They recognize my roots are to be revered. My roots hold the origins of pop, dance, country, and rock and roll. My roots hold aunties that make food for the soul. My roots have infinite hairstyles, impossible weaving and bending. My roots, from slick back to snap back, hold every piece of fucking fashion trending. My roots, and I'm no longer afraid to say it out loud, yo, my roots are black and I'm proud. So my tree will not keel over and die in the snow. I stand here as evidence. Let these words set the precedence that from the roots of black pain, blossoms will one day grow.
That was kinder. Keep your applause going for the next poet to the mic, Thomas Kanechi.
Evening, my name's Thomas Kanechi. I'm a mixed race guy with curly hair and I'm wearing a green jumper. And this poem is an attempt to stop turning our boys into weapons called Snakes and Ladders. You know, it's funny how humans can acknowledge that the heart and the fist are the same size and then proceed to use the wrong body part in the wrong situation. When looking for prey, snakes tend to hide in the grass until they find an animal deemed worthy enough to satisfy their own needs. Eventually, when a target is found, its stillness becomes savage. Its eyes expand at the thought of how the mouse would benefit him. It strikes and the venom quietly seeps into his body like an unwanted guest at a party, immobilizing and eventually killing it. The snake then moves on with its life to the next victim like nothing even happened. Sometimes I wonder if they realize what they do to their surroundings in a search for their own desires. I wonder if they know that the roots of the grass they damage ruins the way it grows in the future. I wonder if they can recognize a snake when they see one. I have learned that not all are reptiles. Some have hands, some have feet. Some package respect into a mailbox and return it back to their parents because the size is too big to wear on their chest. They look at women the way a lion looks at a zebra. admiring the beauty of its stripes, but still deciding to hunt it. They look at women the way a snake looks at a mouse, piercing into its life with fangs of toxic masculinity. You know, we get told that we should never let a girl get in the way of finding our wives, but how can a girl be your wife if you never take her seriously? Us men are mowing the grass instead of letting our garden flourish. We're digging at the ground and then complaining about the quality of our soil. I guess I now know why they say, where the hose at? Can't you see this? Our streets are like the chamber of secrets. The cobras are camouflaged all over the world, always looking for a house they can slither in. People may have the warmest faces, but their hearts will have you shivering. We live in a society where people talk and do different. So when you think you found a gemstone, he might not be what he said he meant. Like sediment, the love I see around is watered down. And it's been eroding at us for a while now. I see girls scrolling on Amazon and they're purchasing a smile now, but it's no longer the Amazon. She's lonely, in denial now. Men say they want the peach and then forget about the seeds that they spill when they take a bite. New age masculinity plays women like a game with 100 squares, but the ladders are too far to reach. This is an apology to any girl who I've slithered down with my secret insecurities. Because I'm living with a heavy heart and I've never been known as a bodybuilder. Because I don't want to be the guy that treats a girl like his world and then sheds his skin into an asteroid. I don't want to be the guy that grabs Cupid from the sky, steals his bow and fires at anyone who would look twice in his direction, leaving 12 perplexed women with arrow tails sticking out of their backs. No, I want to greet Cupid like I've known him for years. I want him to guide me to a flower like he has Google Maps downloaded in my cardiovascular system. I want to take that flower and build a garden that God will be impressed with, look back at it and think, I did things right this time. You know? Thank you.
Let's hear it for Thomas Kanechi. And keep that love going for our final poet of the first half, Thea.
I'm Thea. I'm almost 1.7 meters. I have glasses and a black top. In 2022, an Ukrainian woman gave Russian soldiers a handful of seeds to put in their pockets, saying, "At least sunflowers will grow where you fall." In 1967, carnations down gun barrels marched against the US invasion of Vietnam, and in 1974, Lisbon, a flower revolution overthrew the dictatorial new state. Last week, I saw a guy tossing out a bouquet down a trash can because she canceled and he wasn't going to walk around the neighborhood holding curly flowers. Instead, he would stare and ask, well, why isn't he wearing a suit? Roll his eyes at people talking about the news and request women to smile more but never show their teeth. We lack that old days order, he'd say, grinning. And if looks can kill, words can bring back dead. Cuvintele astea se apucă de rădăcini și se dezgroapă, but as flowers got smashed against the bin in a street full of people, nobody even blinked. Nobody opened their mouth and they say the tongue, ai grijă la limba pe care o vorbești, îți dă putere, când limba le permite, ăștia te omoară și în tăcere. The tongue is the strongest muscle. But that's a lie. It's actually the masseter. The one that helps you chew up words trapped between your teeth. It runs from the temporal bone to the lower jaw, from past to present. See memories, hold up your strength to bite from each sentence, so show your teeth. Gods smiled upon you today and yet remained unfazed by a game of tossing lives aside. Die, not die, die, not die. Să nu mor, mirati, a nemirati, când războiul îți bate la ușă și tu alegi să taci, în loc să ieși în stradă, when someone points a rifle, the carbon ignites under 2 milliseconds. Between every 2 of your heartbeats lay 500 story endings that won't even get buried. See, flowers absorb carbon and build essential compounds, but what we keep forgetting is that we're not fucking plants. We don't need blood-infused soil to grow. Guerrilla gardening doesn't even out the graveyards that systematically appear. They say hope germinates under favorable circumstances. But if
Flowers can part concrete, and people rise from underneath rubbles. It's your duty to root yourself deep into humanity and use your strongest muscle to sprout a revolution every day. Remember, no matter what type of dirtbag you are, you still have the privilege to grow flowers with a fighting chance, so hum some music to yourself. Ascultă niște muzică, water down that ego, open up a window, urlă la tâmpitul care aruncă flori la gunoi, shout at the dickhead smashing flowers against the pen, and hold on tightly to that carnation between your teeth. It's the only one you'll fucking get. Thank you.
Huge roar for all our poets. Thank you. Oh, my heart is full. You will all have an opportunity to vote, not just yet though, so keep in mind who some of your favourites were. Before we go to our 20-minute interval though, I'm going to invite someone on the stage. I'm very excited to call her up. I have a list. I'm going to let you into a secret. I have a list, and I call it my list of mighty women. You know when you meet one. There's quite a few on this stage. To me, this is one of the mightiest, and every time I spend time with her, I always think, God, Anita, you're a really crap person, because she's amazing. Anyway, she's one of your judges tonight. Please go wild for Nikita Gill.
Oh no, how do I do this? Do you know what? I think I'll be fine. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. First off, can I just say that every single one of you was so fucking amazing. Like, you smashed that. You utterly smashed that. Just, tough act to follow. So I'm going to start this by first saying that trigger warning on this one. It's about the first person I loved, and unfortunately he passed away by suicide. And so one of the things that was asked a lot when he passed was, why didn't he say anything? Why didn't he talk to anyone? And I always said that we didn't ask the right questions. It was our job to ask the right questions. So this poem is called Everything I Never Asked Him. How often do you tell your mother that you love her? How often has your father held you and let you cry? Did you ever love a soul you always knew would never love you back? Did you ever love a man fiercely enough to hold him close, yet not name him brother? Can you speak of the first girl that broke your heart without calling her something cruel too? Can your heart ever heal from all the things you will never tell me were done to you? Is there a worship inside you that calls to the forgotten forgiveness in you? Is there a sacred you wish someone understood, a sweeter language you wish someone else knew too? Have your fingers known fists before they knew the easiness of holding hands? Has your skin known bruises before it has known the tenderness of touch? What would you be the god of? What would you be the god of? If they made you a god of soft things, would you finally learn gentle in ways it was withheld from you? Thank you.
Let's hear it for Nikita Gill.
Back
back in 20 minutes. See you after the interval. Keeping the vibes going. And let's make a bit of noise for the Roundhouse staff and volunteers who have made tonight possible.
Also, I would like you to make a round of applause and a bit of noise for yourselves.
Yeah.
Because you are an extraordinary audience, so...
Yes.
And they're feeling it. They're really feeling it. So before we get back into it, by the way, welcome back. It's the Poetry Slam Final 2026 at the Roundhouse. Before we get back to it, shall we get one of our judges back on stage? Yes?
I think so.
What do you
Fancy
reckon?
another one?
So put your hands together for Inua Ellams.
Hello. The mic was closer than I thought it was. I'm going to read one of my fuck poems. So I had a play here called Barbershop Chronicles a few years ago. Thank you. And to write the play, I researched by traveling to all of the countries in the play. One of the scenes I wrote was set in Kenya, and it never made it into the play. So I turned it into a poem called Fuck Carrots. Excuse my language, guys, I'm sorry. So this is that scene, just a little narrative poem. Shout out to the Roundhouse for hosting that play, and also to Marcus, this is his last slam. Could we have a round of applause for Marcus, please? Thank you so much for putting this thing together. Wait, did I just give the game away? No, sir, the members of the team. Okay, no, it's fine. I'm just going to read the poem and get off stage. Jesus, man, Nigerians and big mouths. Fuck Carrots. Here's the poem. Friday night, barbershop, it's starting again. Samuel, his hand poised over Ethan's head, is Basquiat before an uncrowned king. Is Henry Moore before a block of wood? Is Sigmund Freud before a mass of contradictions? Clippers, paintbrush, chisel, voice, the task is the same, to bring to light what lies within. The shop is stocked full of us, our skin, all the tints and tones of wood, our heads of wild foliage. Kwame just taxied from Saudi Arabia, slice off his cap, says his driver was a woman. How progressive London is compared to Saudi, which banned them from driving. Why, Ethan asks, wide-eyed beneath Samuel. Because, Kwame says, fear of infidelity. They even banned courgettes. Cucumbers are illegal. Emmanuel, who knows where this is going. He who owns the shop, who's heard all types of talk, sighs into his client's head. Why, Ethan asks? Because of self-pleasure. Winston cackles from the center of the shop. Because of vegetables, they won't need a man. What about carrots, asks Uncle Sizwe. Too pointy, Kwame responds. But you can carve them, pipes Mohammed from the back. They can be huge. Yes, size matters. And the tide of conversation swells among the men. Some, as if captains, sway in their seats. Others stand up, out on a limb, begging for the sanity and sanctity of sex, covering their sons' ears, risible in the ridicule. A passerby peeking might wonder what it is, if something's in the water, some loosening opiate, a dark tonic, black juice we have drunk. What magic is this welding of loose-necked Pinocchios? Gym freaks, thin-limbed immigrants, fantastic fools, fathers, sons, rulers, and the ruled, loud in our laughter, silent in our suffering. What is this binding? What is set free? All I know is Ethan's cut is clean. Samuel released what lay within, his mask trimmed, the wood gleams, and though he's one of us, now he's crowned king. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Inua Ellams.
Okay, we are going to start the slam again. So we're getting back in that slam mindset. Remember, after the final poet has performed, you will have 5 minutes to cast your vote. So be ready to do that at the end of the slam. Okay, when I say roundhouse, you say slam. Roundhouse. Slam. Roundhouse. Slam. When I say I can't wait for the second half, you say, of course you bloody well can't, because they're all great. I can't wait for the second half. Yes! Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page. Right, let me hear your feet. Let me hear your hands. Let me hear your voices. And let's hear it for Taya!
This particular context, no, really, it hurts so much, it's giving me the giggles. Fun fact. If I swing my mind hard enough, I can take any punch and turn it into a line. If you make me cry, bet I'll make a joke. Fun fact, there's this thing, some people have a tickling kink. Fun fact, you can't tickle your own body. How privileged to take for granted being able to self-satisfy, because balancing on one leg, watching the news, I can drag myself to such great despair that I burst out laughing. Fun fact, there's no such thing as a spontaneous human combustion. Fun fact, brains can tell the difference between genuine and staged laughter. Fun fact, at 22 weeks in the womb, babies start smiling. Fact, dozens of babies die. Everyday fact, nu știi exact de ce ți-e greu să plângi when you don't really understand how we can commit such atrocities across dozens of different languages and still smile in selfies. Fun fact, people smile more in photos because of smartphones. It's never been easier to take pictures, to capture happiness, so people, statistically, smile more. We are shown more deaths than ever before, but we smile more. We smile more, and every 3 posts is a gamble of, is this a joke or the consequences of our actions neatly wrapped up in a meme news? Or, fun fact, the military song, Entry of the Gladiators, is now used for circuses. Was supposed to accompany marches, but dropping bombs, emptying rifles, and starving children to death doesn't quite match the tempo. The chances of dying of laughter are exceptionally slim, but there are records of people who did. And I think it's quite funny how fragile we really are. How pain and laughter can grow up hearing the same headlines, bet on tearing the same muscles as long as they help us heal faster. Fun fact, at some point our world has been put to sleep and now it's waking up screaming, so we need to keep exercising. This world needs to hold on to something while it balances on its broken leg. We need to stretch, kick, flex, stretch, kick, flex, stretch, kick, flex. Fun fact, we are designed to tickle out the pain. Fun fact, you can't tickle your own body. It's not all about you. You're right. Life's a joke, but it lacks the punchline. The comedian fucked it up really bad. So are you gonna do something or just stay there and laugh? Thank you.
Keep the applause going for your next poets, Thomas Kenichi.
My father says in Niger, dreams can be crushed like freshly harvested yam. But it took so much bravery for him to get here, so I'm thinking, if I, my father's son, then hopefully this is what bravery can also look like. Epigenetics is a theory that our experiences can change our genes, and then traces of those changes are passed into next generations, meaning somehow our mother's fear, our father's trauma can wake us up at night, inheritance, not by blood, but by experience. And that is to say, hatred can also be a hand-me-down characteristic. I've been thinking, did Eve know how much we truly like the taste of the apple? And does it fall that far from the tree? When we make our kids eat at canteens that are doused with gasoline and then blaming them when the spark in their hearts causes a scene. I'll tuck my shirt all you want, but you will not take my creativity. Try flick off our lights and watch alcohol abuse increase, because the bar tends to give people some space to breathe. We make bayonets out of our beliefs. Fire them into Bondi Beach to make people drop to their knees in the way they think God intended to. Britain using ISIS to blame Muslims, ignoring the pain that they put us through. Like, do you need me to spell this crisis out for you? Our mother said no, our brothers said no, and I'll say NO2, that's nitrogen dioxide, killing our communities too. Like the smoke from Grenfell isn't still affecting our genetics. Society set ablaze by the arsonists that take office, putting out our sparks under this shitty rain while feet up in the tropics. Celebrities in the Epstein files thinking they can do anything with their profits. Andrew, blood doesn't make you royal if you're going and spilling more of it. We turn on the people that built this country with calloused hands and teary eyes. Jim Ratcliffe can sit and say, we're the ones that colonize, but my man are united, so watch how we plan to fight. So many ages us humans have survived, but I'm struggling trying to work out what's colder, ice or ice. This is the land that's been inherited to us. Tax on inheritance, so the only thing passed down are cold hearts. We say there is no slavery, but Russia is stealing Africans to suicide bomb on their front line. I know we're on different time periods, but it's the same when we put our genocide. The devil's looking up at us with hellish eyes. Congo and Sudan, they're still hungry and we're just feeding lies. I mean, when do we decide this is not the life we want to live? When Bad Bunny has to wear a bulletproof vest at halftime? When blood in the Middle East spills and floods our news headlines? When hatred tries to change this DNA? Let us talk about love. Let me tell you how for the first time in my life, I'm going to watch Arsenal win the league. Let me tell you about Amelia and her eyes like a West African sunset. You see, we live in a world where the sky greets more bombs than baby showers, but I pray that our generation can see more color than smoke. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Thomas Kelechi. Keep that love going for your next poet of the evening, Kinda.
Hey people, the rack is back. So if you're able to clap, then clap. If you can't, then make some noise. If you represent a country that's represented by a flag. That's all of you. This piece is called Half-Mast Flags, and it is dedicated to the 9 people murdered by ICE since the beginning of 2026, the 164 people wrongfully deported during the Windrush scandal, and all the flags in the room. A flag is defined as a piece of cloth attached to a rope or a pole, used as a symbol or an emblem of a country. Let me break down what these flags mean to me, for they hold truth deeper than the naked eye can see. But please, remember that the union we claim don't mean jack if our sole intention is to take the people who rebuilt our country and send them back. Now they're labeled as benefit bandits, but also somehow job stealing. The educated immigrant is equally as threatening as we are appealing. The government refuses to take a penny from the 1%, but sure, the Pakistani family next door is the reason that you can't afford rent. The Caribbean nurse who busts a graveyard shift just to survive is the reason there's a crisis on the cost of our lives. The flag is hung
in order to cause fear, forgetting it's your fault that I'm even here. Had you never pleaded for the Windrush fleet, I'd be caught in the midst of a tropical islander treat. These streets, they were meant to be lined with gold. And now they're lined with immigrants gone bankrupt over the dreams that they were sold. The red in the Union Jack, it stands for return to the land from whence you came. This one is bathed in bloodshed, backstabbing, and erasure of names. The flag is white, like the ideals held about supremacy. The parliament can't take the fall. The house of melanin is the enemy. The sea is blue, unlike the seas which hold the boats, flooded with families desperate to keep their futures afloat. And though I harbor on about this flag, please do not let your interest be too far taken. The flag I rep as the daughter of two beautiful immigrants is unmistakably Jamaican. My flag is evidence of beauty's existence. To you, it is 3 colors and a cross. To me, it's resistance. My flag is green, like the means of which you take from my people. Green like the root of all your evil. It is black, like the oil your pockets yearn for. Black like the community you're leaving dirt poor. Black and yellow like the sands of the shores your boats land on. It is yellow like the gold mines you are killing to get your hands on. So audience, do you think that if profit wasn't a part of the equation, we'd be more willing to multiply the culture within the nation? We don't subtract from the resources provided, and yet we add to the desire to see a united kingdom divided. The flag is not a symbol of peace or unity. It is a siren, a warning that they want to string me up like bunting and hang my body from the awning. You say the racism card is a tired and old rhetoric. Guess how sick I am of yawning. Every day there's a new threat spawning which reduces the hopes of a new day dawning, and so a flag is defined as an omen and a warning from the past that if we don't let all colors fly free, every flag will fly half-mast.
Please welcome your next poet, Oscar W. Isaac.
All right, cool. My second poem is called The Mythical Hero of Legend Has Clinical Depression. The prophecy breathed that he'd cleave through demons, reap through legions of unspeakable evils, ream to pieces their grievous leaders, then of the deceased he'd retrieve them from Elysium by sealing their lethal lesions. A kill leaves healed. But in reality, he just sleeps in. His steed, he forgot to feed it, lives off cheap mead, cheap weed, gets a quest, he doesn't even read it. His sword, forged by dwarves in the depths of a fjord, is buried under heaps of laundry, increasing week by week, because folding his jeans is as steep an odyssey as deceiving Polyphemus. Forget polishing those greaves when a needs could be written of him polishing his teeth. The mythical hero of legend is Atlas, bearing the weight of the heavens even when he's rotting in his bedroom. He's reeling from bosses like Circe's, converting his big dreams to pig dreams, all headsets and spreadsheets. It's spent him, condemned like a Trojan, no Hector to defend him. And while kingdoms immolate in a dragon's flames, he is at home playing video games because he comprehends himself as defective. There is no Nemean beast, no mares of Diomedes, the 3 apples of Hesperides still chill amongst the trees. The labors would seem unachievable too if Heracles was a Gen Z. And though the world needs him, he can't quite believe it. A party made up of a priest and a thief, like from an RPG, awaits him. He's got no idea that those are his mates who've stayed with him, who he's airing because replying to their message feels like writing an epic. But the world cannot be rescued by scrolling through Reddit. Upheaval cannot be bested by a festering prisoner of terror. The mythical hero of legend must be his own cleric. Like Gilgamesh, he must face the grotesque and behead it. Transform like an Ovid retelling, not dread the unsettling, accept it. That voice in his head will always be frenetic, let it. It won't always be poetic. Even if he manages to build a Rome from a wreckage, he is stuck behind a desk. Shiva works for Unilever. Beowulf claims benefits. The mythical hero is being oppressed and you no less suppressed. You get dressed, you get stressed, you do your best for a profession that does not honor the hopes you're repressing. I'm Tiresias the prophet proclaiming a presage. You are not pathetic. Even if apathetic, even if dead, your life was a saga you scribed into cells. The mythical hero works in sales, works retail, waits tables. The mythical hero frees himself from Hades because maybe to be is worthy of fables. And even if sometimes he dreams of the means to leave, and there may come a day where that urge may defeat him, perceive that the prophecy breathed of him cleaving through demons, and to exist for an eon, or even just for a minute to meet them in conflict is mythic.
Oscar W. Isaacs. Keep that love going for your next poet of the evening, Tia Zakura.
The same girls who made fun of my colouring class are getting spray tans and plans to get shots in their ass. To think I ever tried to pass to fit into their cast makes me laugh now. The cards are dealing them class clowns jokers, and I stay getting hearts because I'm past how provokers tried to poke at my fro, not knowing it's a brass crown because I'm a queen that's been passed down. The gift of golden knight spoke up, so I'm putting them on blast now. And I'll do it on my Jack Jones, no more can they harm me. In fact, I'm kind of entertained when every John, Jane and Charlie are pulling up to Carney, calling each other doggy, but ghetto's what they used to call me. And now they're posted up at black clubs, but daddy's voting Tory, it's boring. Their little performative acts of activism. Black squares when back then they were causing every schism. Two-faced like a Gemini, division between them and I think of young Tia and the tears she would cry. Because they picked on her, ripped into her, messed with her mental health. They're insular, I picture her living in that hell, had her believing she would never find beauty within herself. Until they started getting perms. The same hair they called me Sideshow Bob for. So they started buying tickets to every rapper that was on tour, started wearing clothes that led me to face an onslaught of names and disdain, shouting insults like an encore. Down the corridor, it was horrible, I got it all, I swear. From the students and the teachers, staff never seemed to care. And maybe I am holding a grudge. But too often we're expected not to judge past disrespecting, letting them go off without a slap on the wrist, whilst I sit with the cis that persist to be pissed. And I'm reminded every time they're posting their pics that I was broken down to bits whilst they laugh with their friends. The time it took to wear my hair natural again, the years I spent praying to God I'd look like them. I take it out on my pen, but I could send shots. Poison every drop of that hyaluronic acid until their lip fillers pop. Stitch patterns of tar into every boxer braid so they know what it's like to be black and afraid that this shit will always stick. And I'll remove all the shade until they're fried to a crisp, and then I'll carve out their hips, and just for fun I'll arrest them. Yo, let me calm down. I promise I'm fine. It's just kind of conflicting, the way it all shifted. What I was taught to despise is now being called gifted. The same guys who I liked, who would never look twice, are giving eyes in the club, trying to slide in my DMs in the PM, being nice, asking if I'd go see them. And the girls call me cool now. So maybe they've all changed. With age, maybe I need to give them some grace, but it's hard when you're scarred with cuts to your race, and I'm faced with an image of a girl with a grin. and she's wearing my skin. And all I can think is this a dystopian world we're living in? Where they're wriggling to fit in this thing they called sin, wearing melanin suits like it's the hottest new thing, but it wasn't hot when I had it. I was burnt to a cinder, hindered my appeal. I'll be real for a sec. Their costume ain't complete without a noose on their neck, so it must feel freeing to spend your life taunting the same features you wear now on Instagram, flaunting it. Must feel freeing to pick and choose when you want to be black and when you want to be you. It must feel freeing to know I'm still vexed that your young, silly mistakes have had lasting effects, but I must free it, let go of my pain, because they'll never know what it's like to make real change. I said, I must free it, because they're living free, and I'm blocking my blessings by not living for me. I said, I'm...
To blessings. At least we have another one that's intact. They loved the cracked one, if it would only stop leaking. It was the yolk they couldn't bear to look at. Their parents, you see, it's hard for them. The physicist and the ceramics restorer put it together piece by piece and wrapped it up in sellotape to prevent leakage and made an adapted egg cup. Even when the white seeped through the sellotape, they had kitchen roll. They put the other egg next to it for company. The other egg loved it very much despite the cracks. It was lovable and very spiky. The physicist read papers on calcium regrowth. The ceramics restorer read its stories about kintsugi. But it cried and said, the fall was my fault. They only loved me for the cracks. She didn't have an answer. The physicist especially loved it and said, I don't blame you for gravity. And he held it when it felt like it was falling again and kept telling it every night, no matter how mixed up you feel inside, there's life in you yet. Thank you.
Let's do it for Rory Dodgson.
Okay, we are just over halfway through the second half. Audience, how are we doing? Okay. Judges, how are we doing? Okay, great, brilliant. Oops, skirt. Okay. So, if any part of your focus has left this room, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. We've only got 4 poets left, and you're only going to get this once for the rest of your lives. You are never going to hear these poets in this order with these people in the same room ever again in the rest of your life, okay? We've got it once. So let's give the same level of attention that we gave to these final 4 poets as we gave to the first poet of the night. Yeah? Okay, let's take a breath in and out. Okay, let me hear your feet. Let me hear your hands. Let me hear your voices. And welcome to the stage, Rain Spiegel Johnson.
Lágrimas negras. I kiss the lágrimas negras that fall from Grandma's face at the mention of her displacement. She waits on the Heavenly Father's grace to bring her to his pearly gates, makes her kin squirm at any day now. Basmati comforts the bittersweet, for embraces feel too foreign to feet when mais preguntas, too many questions are asked about her history. So I ask her the questions in English because eu não falo português. For they are both languages of the settlers, yet we settled in their land still, to find something better than us loved ones left in fishnets in Maputo Coast's landfill. Something better than an AK-47 on our motherland flag, so we refrain from raising it in this country. For brown skin in a foreign land is a governmental threat. For brown skin with a foreign flag says I'm here to take space. For when brown assertions, black isms, and mm-hms be in your face, what we really mean to say is, we are here to stay. Circa 1979, Nan plants her vows in, reaping job offers and interviews. She punctuates her speech learnt from this morning's Celtic news. She eroded her coastal curves to fit a UK-sized skirt, and now her womb burns by folks who were painted as her saviors. I cry, Lord, save her. El son negro, seem it was this land that called us here. This land of the golden pavements, this land that called grandma from across the Atlantic, this land that spit, rip those patterns off. Wear this pale man pedestal praise around your hips. Birth your kids paler than you so they can earn a couple tips, so they can have paler wives and then breed paler kids. More interviews than you because their names sound more English, just to miss the opportunity when they see them in person, because that phone call voice can't cut it in the job post elections. So apply, apply, apply. Contribute yourself like these peas. More lágrimas negras in our penny slot machines. Abide by British beings and teachings that we brought to your villages and cities. Earn your MC and OBEs and be knighted by a king. Yet to untie 56 kingdoms a slave. We call this the Commonwealth, but the health of the commoners is depleting inside gold mines and cobalt caves. Just stay silent about that part, mate. I want to wipe these lágrimas negras away from her face like a small rock babe. I want to call death's conscience just to compromise just this one time so I don't keep carving questions on her pending tombstone. I make room, though, for protection prayers that her departure be delayed a few so I can share one more hug, a kiss on the cheek, one more Shangan lesson because I never truly wanted to speak Portuguese. Na Kuranza, gogo, I love you. Na Kuranza, because saying I love you, na Kuranza, was never a radical opinion. So I breathe to complete her dream of thriving in this land of the free.
Ray Spiegel Johnson. Keep the applause coming now for your next poet, Takunda Muzondiwa.
We are gathered here today to witness the joining of two lives, the extension of communion itself. So, with this diamond ring, do you take joy in how many Africans have died mining your happily ever after? Our continent was a gold mine, a gorging belly. We lived swollen, throbbing at the diamond deposits in our arteries. The first step to siphoning a man from the body of water that is his land is to liquidate his assets and call it water bending, to claim all his wealth and name it a fortune telling, a foretelling of the fire and brimstone to rain down upon a continent of stolen gemstones. So many declarations of love have mined us and maimed us, left us dismembered and dilapidated, forced us to cough up our riches like kidney stones. So many unnamed men have been sacrificed in the name of Michael Hill and Tiffany's. So is it wicked of me to call this wedding a funeral when there are vows being exchanged over our tombstones? Is it wicked of me to wear white to the wedding when the bride is not the only thing being surrendered? Is it wicked of me to catch the bouquet and refuse to be the next to marry, to bury bodies in an accessory? Is it wicked of me to hate how a diamond glistens, how it mimics ice, cold like the corpses that died finding it? Is it wicked of me to hate how a diamond bounces sunlight as if there is a man trapped and shooting a flare gun from inside? But we are all too blinded by pretty things to speak of it, to think of the dark-skinned men who dug their own graves to unearth them so no one speaks of it. We just forever hold our peace and the bride and groom say, I do. And we all clap till our hands bleed raw, leaving us all red-handed.
Let's hear it for Takunda Muzundiwa. And give your love to our next poet, Binta Yard.
This poem was written in response to the song No Woman, No Cry by Bob Marley and the Wailers, and later the Fugees. It's a song of resistance. I'm going to need your your help singing a couple bars at the end, so please don't leave me hanging. This one's for the women who cry and those who don't, but probably should. No woman, no cry. The woman do cry, yes, she sings and she laughs, but oh, does she cry? Woman cries at the earliest of dawn and darkest of dusk. She cries caught between a rock and a hard place, green grass and greener grass, between damned if you do and damned if you don't, sink or swim. It's a dog-eat-dog well, but she's not a dog. She's a woman. And she cries to a beat that disregards the moon cycle. Yet she cries out all the same. Sometimes the moon cries back. She cries the tears of the children yet to be born, and the children who from this world were torn. She cries for Sudan, she cries for Congo, she cries for Palestine. She cries because her voice box is too cracked to speak up every time. So she cries because her voice doesn't carry, but her tears flood oceans, keep life rafts afloat and change the tide. She cries because she does it all and can do it all, and her ancestors fought for her right to do it all, but far. She cries. She cries hanging on the thread between ingratitude and capitalist guilt. She cried because this is the life they fought for, and all she can do is cry. So she cries to extinguish forest fires and replenish water supplies. She cries because what else is there to do? She cries because she remembers crying from straight out the womb, so crying seems like the only natural thing to do. Everything that came after has been tainted by money, corruption, power, but crying has stayed true. So she cries while they sing, no woman, no cry. Yes, she sings and she laughs. Her smile carries the fate of nations, but oh, does she cry? For you who does not cry, she cries for you. And for you, she cries because all other forms of resistance have been outlawed. So she cries because she resists. She cries because if she stops, they will have won. And those with stale tear ducts do not deserve to see the strange fruits of their cruelty met with dry eyes. So she cries and she wails and she stabs hard hearts with her staccato screams. She cries because there is everything to cry about. There is everything to cry about, and her tears a sign that there is water on Mars and life on Earth. So she cries, she cries, she cries, while they sing, no woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Okay, one more people, please. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Thank you.
Binta Yard. And now for our final poets. Give it up for Joshua Turton.
This is a poem about the impossibility of remembering my grandparents ethically. It has content warnings for diasporic grief. Imagining Paradise, after Roger Robinson. When I think of Grandma, her hands are wet as paint palettes. She kisses her teeth like horsehair glides over canvas. The ocean is not quite as blue. I ask her where she's painting. She laughs, says she's painting home. She's so honest. I would cringe when she spoke to friends about my childhood, going on and on about wiping my sore black zebra bum. To her mind, eczema is my mother's red hair trying to escape. I can't help but imagine. Grandpa had a smile so gentle it could have fallen off the bone. He was as quick to cry as a gushing broken nose had a cleft in his palate left over from the war. He called it a victory prize, kept the spoils safe inside the left-hand pocket of his favorite mustard cords, where absent-minded fingers drum calypso rhythms into muscled thigh. His femoral pulses. He dreamed, learning to strum the chords of a new nation. When they kissed, Grandpa made Granny more seasick than the belly of the empire. Wind rushed their butterflies, breezing from somewhere along the port of Spain. Somehow now, my possible families form neighborhoods on my mantelpiece. Yet as we gather round the fire, my grandparents cuss out their impotent son, and I laugh. But before I can amass my futile grievances, Grandpa counts my curls with a wide-toothed smile. His cracked, calloused fingers wet with shea. He hums Sinatra like my stepfather with his West Yorkshire proclivities. Grandma would have laughed, watching, her black skin glistening beneath the cold sun. The first thing I learned about the Empire Windrush and her generation would not be characterized by news reports about black pain. Instead, I would have asked a grandmother I knew about the smell of the moon in a country she once called home. I would have bottled the twinkle in her eyes in case it ever left my mind. If it ever left her, I would give it back. I asked my father's father how it made his tummy rumble to see the crinkled flag of his motherland. I asked if it felt like making love. I ask if it's possible to fall in love with a country as sore as mine. He says home is just a human slice of paradise. Grandma's wrist twitches. A streak of flame gingerly sails the off blue. I feel like a crap ventriloquist. What if I hate them like I hate him? At nightfall, I get myself to an empty room, empty my hollow paradise onto a desk, rise to crack the blinds, invite the silvery kinks and coils of moonlight to mingle with this nothingness. I sit so still, I can almost see the people they were, dancing. I do this several times a week. I watch a grandson rise.
Let's hear it for your final slammer of the evening, Joshua Turton. And all of the poets that you have heard tonight.
Okay, now, whilst the judges have the unenviable job of having to score our incredible poets, it's over to all of you because the audience vote is now open. So you can vote for the poet that you enjoyed the most. All you need to do is look up to the screen right there. That's the QR code. Use your phones, click on the QR code and the link, and you can cast your votes now. Is everyone getting it?
And Joshua Turton.
Okay, so those are our incredible poets, so please cast your votes. You've got about 4 minutes left. And whilst you're online casting your votes, we would love you to post about tonight on our socials, please. So follow the Roundhouse, the judges, follow Toby, follow me. Most importantly, follow our amazing poets whilst you're at it. So, whilst you've got your heads down, I want you to do 2 things at once, because we are going to invite to the stage our third judge. Are you ready? We're all very ready. Please put your hands together for Jordan Stevens.
Hello. All right, so I've got a longer one because they said they've got need more time to count all the votes. So hopefully I can maintain your attention. I never read this poem out loud before. I thought it was, I was backstage talking to other judges. I was like, oh, my poem's about like struggling to contend with like the latent colonialism in this country. I wonder if anyone else is going to say that. And I was like, oh, every fucker is contending with, yeah. So, sorry. I don't know if this is, anyway, the standard's pretty fucking high. All right, also, the other thing I wanted to say was I need to change my bio because I have also written a book that's more applicable to being a slam judge than acting in Catastrophe, which was a guest part. It was a small part. So I need to put that on a bio. Anyway, this is a version of a poem that I used to listen to on repeat when I was about 11 years old on a CD called Lyricist Lounge, Volume 2. It's a poem by a poet called Sarah Jones, Blood, and it's the closest thing I guess I've had to my first experience of a slam poem, and this is my version of it. It's called White Lies. This got 9 likes on Substack, so... And it's fucking long. Here we go. It is the whitest lie on this planet. A lie that slips and slides off red tongues in dark times, tasked with keeping clouded minds. We can never keep it off our screens. Not iPhone and not Samsung. See, they make him across the seed and sell him to you and me for 50 times their value. They'll lie and say they're the civilized ones, the ones constantly under attack, when really, not so long ago, 1 or 2 generations before me, they were off-color corpses strung up from trees like a Granny Smith or a ripped kite in leaves, all just doing what the people pleased. Yes, including the Queen. So, people know what it means when we see people with no means to fight their way back into their dreams. People say, can't you see? It's not me. I'm not the one saying it. You're caught in a lie too. A white one, your favorite. Before black boys became obsessed with whips and chains, there were ankles that cracked from all the, it's been said, and backs that broke beneath the weight of slave names like Stevens, Smith, Johnson, Drax, or even Hilfiger. Black bums that bore marks forever with irons that preceded those for pressing white shirts that go with stupid little bow ties. Black tie events, charity fundraisers where the wealthy have to be coaxed into caring. The same iron heat forcing curls to relax out of fear that some frizz will change minds. Unkept, another lie. And there was still more molding of a troubled mind. Yes, these humans are lesser. They believe in naive things like sharing. They have no grasp of accumulation, so yes, we strip them, invade them, break them for the greater good, nameless, shapeless concepts worthy of a branding iron. But wait, we've moved on. To what? Brands ironed on to overpriced cotton. Take your pick, it's as though we've forgotten. Trendy surnames screamed on rap records, fashion houses getting free promo with no record of care or compassion. In fact, more evidence of exploitation than extraction. This is but a fraction of my frustration. We all want them to pick us so we can sit at their dinners and hear them plot out how to stop us winning. It's a little more than a few fucking off-color decisions. It's a multi-generational global incision. The richest continent in the world, starved for its resources so we can eat cheap bananas. And everyone lets it happen. Because anti-blackness is a disease. If you're worried about the integrity of a politician's mouth, of course, don't forget the House of Lords. They're hardly planning how to house the poor. We're talking dynasties and deflective brown faces. First-class lounge feels great when you're told you'll never make it, and still the lie remains naked. Whether it's white or beige, it's almost guaranteed you'll never see the inside of the upper league. Your favorite online person isn't rich, they're just richer than you. Real money is hard to see. And after years of repression, suppression, procession after procession, succession, I see child limbs lie in battle, darker skin than it's seen as collateral. Being so akin with a lie is unnatural, the lie that binds and blinds our planet. A lie manufactured is inorganic, but fuck it as long as most of the people don't panic. For many of us, the truth is too dark, it's too black, it's too hard, it's too fat, it's too charged, but the truth is that the truth consumes way less energy than being anti-fact. We know the difference between terrorism and resistance. You teach us to be pacifists, but violence is your religion. We know who starts the wars. We can see the decisions. It's just that some of us are too shocked to believe that you don't listen. Some brains are too washed, they just filter out the wisdom. Can't speak on the phone without a filter over our beautiful brown eyes. Ancient islands surrounded by the same shade as the lies they lie in. The white lies fed through films and writing. The instant dim of a black light shining. It's not conspiratorial, but that's another way to silence. Strike them off as mad if they got a little more of that fighting. It's frightening, but the lie can't last. The drain on energy is too vast, and the measurement of value won't pass. Once we break free of that lie, push the sun through the clouds of our minds, we can shine. But until then, it'll break us, put us all in suits and blazers, show off chains and a change of status, hide the truth of what we're made of. It's a lie that numbs us, a lie that dumbs us. It's a lie that confronts and blunts us. The heaviest lie with the lightest front, it is the whitest lie on this planet. Thanks. Yo, brother, every poet on this stage, man, tonight's been fucking crazy. Absolutely blown away. Thank you so much. Inspiring as hell.
So, whilst our scores are being totted up, just a reminder, please do check out everything that's happening in the 360 Festival here at the Roundhouse in the next few weeks. K Tempest is going to be performing with Sean Fay and Travis Alabanza, yes. We've got Aditya's show next Friday, check that out. Spit Nights with Harry Baker, Maureen Onwanali, who won the Roundhouse Slam a few years ago, yes. And loads of other amazing things. Roundhouse Collective are performing as well. If you've been inspired tonight and you want to get involved, message the Roundhouse, get in touch with them, find out how you can get involved with the programs. If you're aged between 11 and 30, they've got loads of incredible initiatives, workshops, collectives that you can get involved with. They've got the Roundhouse Collective, loads of other groups as well. Roundhouse Poetry Collective, loads of other groups. If you're slightly over 30, just a couple of years over 30 like us, there's loads of poetry things happening in London and around the country, wherever you are joining us from. So find out what's going on in your local community and support it. In London, there's the National Poetry Collective Showcase, which is going to be happening in July at Brixton House. The Roundhouse Collective are going to be performing. Loads of other young poets from across the country will be there, so go to that. If you're feeling inspired to write, I run a creative writing workshop course, which is starting in May. So if you fancy writing some poems with me, I'd love to bloody have you. So come and sign up for that. It's called Verse. Yeah, and loads of other things that are happening around London and around the country. So go and find out what they are and support them. Okay, I was asked to read a poem to you because we need a little bit more time for the scores to be totted up. I'm aware that you are probably at saturation point with poems tonight. You've heard a lot. You've done really bloody well, guys. So I'm just going to read something very, very short. And hopefully the scores will be in by the end of that. So this is this poem is verbatim, which basically means it's something that someone said to me once, and I wrote it in a book, and therefore it's a poem. And I really love the person who said this to me. It's called Deliverance. I've known it from the day he was born. I was in the hospital, And the midwife, she put him on my chest, and I held him, and I felt him. You know, I felt him. And I says to myself, I says, Joanne, this baby is a gay. A gay baby. And I just thought, well, that's that. I love him, no different. That's that. Thank you. Okay, we've got the scores, yes. Yeah, okay, fab. So, the scores have been checked and verified. And before we hand over to Marcus, we just want to share the maxim that is shared all over the world. The points are not the point is the... The word was poetry, people. The points are not the point is the... Yes! Okay, Slam was started as a gimmick to get people to come and watch poetry. So thank you for being here, but haha, we fooled you all. You've come to watch poetry on a Thursday night. Well done to you all for being here. Yes. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage the artistic director and CEO of the Roundhouse, my elder brother, Marcus Davey.
Hello. I'm Marcus Davey. I am a very tall white man with hair. Sorry, without hair. I'm wearing a blue suit and a light blue shirt, and I have some of the scores, but I just want to say a few thank yous first. Thank you to these amazing judges in front of us here. It's actually really moving for me, in a way, you being here, because we've been working together for different things for 20 years, really. It's incredible. And to the fantastic compares, Anita and Toby. So, I want to say a special thank you to all of you, but particularly the people sitting right over there and all the way over there. So thank you very much for being here for poetry. This is the first night of the Roundhouse 360 Festival this year. It's a unique festival that puts young people on the main stage alongside incredibly famous artists, but also puts them on production jobs, like on the cameras in the audience, and also, importantly, in the audience. Yes, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Poetry is immensely important to the Roundhouse, especially spoken word poetry. On Monday night, we have Spit Night, which is completely sold out. 1,500 tickets for poetry, making it probably the largest poetry event in the world. I think I meant to say that with 2 breaths, but anyway, getting excited. We've got Boy Blue this coming weekend, the hip-hop dance company with a band on stage, amazing. K-Tempest, Imogen Heap, and so many others coming in the coming days. Femi Colioso's Situation Dance, amongst others. So I hope you'll be here and take part. And at the end, or maybe come again, come and see our 20th anniversary celebratory exhibition in our bars and in the foyer spaces. And guess what? It's called Full Circle. Okay, so I come to this space very often, as you imagine, now for nearly 27 years, and every time I come in here, my breath is taken away. I look up, I see the incredible lighting my colleagues have done, I see the space and how well it's been looked after, and I think of these young poets really taking ownership of this stage. There wasn't one moment of falter for the whole night. The courage it takes to come and own this stage, a stage that Jimi Hendrix and Pink Floyd and Jay-Z and Lady Gaga and many others. You are amazing. Thank you so much. had audience participation before, but judge participation is something new. It takes very special people to put these big events on and very special people to fund them. There's a huge number of our funders and donors and supporters in here, the Arts Council and many individual trusts and foundations, the Paul Hamlin Foundation amongst many others. If you're not a supporter of the Roundhouse but would like to be, do talk to me or one of my colleagues and we'd be very happy to welcome you into the fold with glee and gladness. Just below our feet is Europe's largest creative centre for young people, as well as the new building next door. In the last year, we worked with over 10,000 young people. Young people need our support more now, more than ever. The challenges for young people face in our society are extraordinarily difficult. But what I find amazing every single day that I hear things like tonight is the hope, is the courage, is the depth of which they want to yearn to reach out and reach for the stars. And as I think about that, sitting in the audience tonight, I was thinking about the Artemis mission. Technical wonder, going past the moon. But there's not been one line of poetry. There's not been one great, one step for man, one giant step for mankind. I could get it right one day. But wouldn't it have been great to have poetry in the heart of some of these extraordinary people going further than we could have we've ever been before? But what we have on stage is young people taking us with poetry further than we've ever been before. Art takes us to a place that we hope for. Art gives us the challenges in life. Art is not supposed to be comfortable. Art is supposed to be something that reaches inside you, turns you upside down, and makes you see the world in a different way. And if you ever think art is just something to give you comfort, that's one thing it does, then art is something different. And I love the fact that the Roundhouse puts on art every single day, day in, day out, night in, night out, every day of the year, and it has done for this last 20 years. So thank you all of you for being part of it, and it's really gives me great pleasure to be here to announce the winners. Okay, I'm going to have to do it like this. So every now and again, something extraordinary happens, and something extraordinary happened tonight. A member of the audience, one of our wonderful supporters, said, "I'm so touched by listening to this tonight. I'd like to increase the audience vote from £300 to £1,000. So an extra £700. So my first announcement that I'm going to do, and if the person who wins this just stands up, you don't have to come and do a speech or anything like that, but just... Now, in a minute, I'm going to hand over to our principal sponsor at the Roundhouse of the Poetry Slam, Taylor Wessings, Kirsty McGuigan, to announce the first prize. So I'm not going to announce the first prize, I'm announcing the second prize next. Then I'm going to skittle off the stage, and Kirsty is going to come over and announce the winner. So, and in our second place is Tia Zakura.
Thank you very much. So I'm a white female. I have brown hair on a stage of the true word. I ought to say there's probably a bit of grey in there now as well. And I am wearing, well, I tried very hard not to look like a lawyer tonight, so I'm wearing my pumps and a blue skirt. Before anything else, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone on the stage tonight. Watching you perform has been nothing but extraordinary. And I really, really mean that. I'm in awe of each and every one of you. And it's a genuine privilege to be up here tonight. I want to thank each of you for for your creativity, your honesty, and the perception that you've brought to the stage tonight. And I also want to say one other thing that I witnessed tonight, watching each and every one of you. Because if you noticed, every time a poet came up, everyone behind them were clicking and clapping and stomping and smiling, and they were just supporting one another so, so much. So a lot of love and kindness on the stage tonight. Thank you. To the team at Roundhouse, I do just want to say thank you for the care, the energy, and the dedication that you make to make evenings like this possible, so thank you. And to all of you out here tonight, thank you also. This is part of an ongoing journey, and all that I ask of each and every one of you here and out there is that I hope that you will stay connected to the Roundhouse, and I hope that you will continue to champion young, creative voices and do whatever bit that you can, big or small, to help encourage them along, to open doors, and just to support. So thank you, and please continue to do that. Okay, now I know what you really want to know, so let's get on with it. Okay, it is truly an honour to be standing here tonight, and I am ready to reveal tonight's winner. On behalf of Taylor Wessing, as principal partner of the Roundhouse and Poetry Slam, I am delighted to announce that the winner of the Poetry Slam Champion of 2026 is Takunda Montana.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna cry. I'm so grateful. I feel like as a young person, poetry is sort of where I met myself. And I'm grateful that now as an adult, I feel like poetry is the vehicle and tool with which myself and so many amazing poets use poetry to make the world be confronted with the truth or to meet truth where they would otherwise like to turn away. So I'm so grateful for this. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know what else to say apart from Free Sudan, Free Congo, Free Palestine. Thank you so much.
What a night.
What a bloody night. Okay, we have got some final thank yous before we say goodbye to you tonight. So if we can get like a low rumbling round of applause.
Keep it coming.
And then some whoops after these names, and then we will see you next year. Okay, so let's hear it for all of our performers tonight. For our incredible judges.
The judges.
Our BSL interpreter and translator, Ali Gordon and Zoe McQuinney.
Our DJs, Late Kid and Kamansi. The broadcast and digital production team at the Roundhouse. The tech team. Front of house. Let's hear it for the volunteers.
For Akira, Jack, and the Roundhouse Artistic Programme team. To everyone across the country who made the prelims happen.
To Taylor Wessing. And a special thank you to Marcus Davey for over 27 years of hard work at the Roundhouse. Just being so bloody genuine and gorgeous.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to everyone at home. Thank you to my gorgeous co-host, Anita Rani.
And thank you to Toby Campion. Will we see them next year?
Yeah, we'll
see
you next year.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
Good night.